Hello everybody and welcome back to Throttle Grotto. So today we're doing a special episode. We are off-site. We are at a friend of mine's house. His name's Seth. And say hi, Seth.
Hi!
So we are here at his house and we are going to talk a little bit about his rabbits. And we'll get to that later. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fix this one. This is his 1979 two-door Rabbit. He picked this car up for about $1,000. It's got some really cool retro stripes on it. It's a just a little two-door, pretty much stock. It's got little issues here and there, but runner, driver. It's got the Westmoreland front end. The 1 year only, or I guess 2 if you're going to be technical about it. But here's the real problem with his car. You see how far that door drops when he opens it? That's not good. He's got a severely, and for you interior nerds, I'll get a shot. Seth is basically the floor mat master. I think he's got a set of these old cool floor mats in every one of his cars. So right here is why that's why his door doesn't work. So today we are going to fix this. We're gonna make some things out of metal and bend them up, and hopefully make this rabbit a little more, at least make this door a little more solid than it was. So stay tuned and we're going to get to work. That goes way deeper. Yikes. That's not how that's supposed to be. Alright, well, there you go. That's why his door wasn't staying in. That's hilarious. Super easy to get to that now. Alright. Basically what we're going to do is we're just going to make a panel. And then we're going to have to separate all this stuff and weld it to the backside before we weld the panel in. Because this doesn't appear to have been welded at any point to the inner structure. And Alright, so I figured I'd give you guys a little bit more close-up shot as to what we're looking at here. This is the what used to be the door jamb assembly. Somebody really cobbled on that door hinge there. Stripped out all the threads in it. And this is the hole that's left. So this is what we're going to fix today. He's got his dog here, Doc, hanging out. So this will be our project for the day. It's going to be a little bit more fun than I anticipated, but we'll make it happen. Let's do that again. All right, so I forgot to turn the camera on last time when we were modifying a piece of the inner door jamb. Inside the door jamb, you saw when we took the hinge off, there was that giant piece that was kind of floating, attached to nothing, and that is like there's like an inner support, and that holds the door retainer, so when the door swings open it doesn't come out too far, and then also the hinge attaches to the outside of that. So we had to go through and kind of extract that from all the crappy welds and everything that people have done over the years to try to fix it. And here's what we ended up with. So we've got our hinge plate, which is nothing more than a big piece of bent metal with a hole through it. We're going to have to weld a nut to the back side of this to make some threads, because as you can see over the time the threads have been just completely chewed out of this thing. And then this is the structure that actually stops the door from swinging open too far, and then it also gives the hinge some support behind the sheet metal, so that way your little flimsy sheet metal doesn't just have to support the whole way to the door. This actually sits inside and helps support it. So we've extracted that. Took longer than I expected, so X times 2 on time for everything when I work on something. But that part's done. I started making a cardboard template. I think you saw a little bit of it earlier. So now we're going to go back and we'll start doing the cardboard template, and we're going to start getting sheet metal cut out, and then we'll actually be able to start welding the door jamb back into this thing. It's going to be complex because there's a lot of multiple curves and bends and stuff that go into this. So it may be something that we're going to put in a couple of pieces just to make it easier. So that's where we're headed now. So right now Seth is going to drill some holes in that piece so that we can spot weld it to the inside of the door frame here. I'm just going to put a few holes in it just so we can get it. Was never attached to the inner wall, it was always just attached to the outer skin. So we're going to reinforce it a little bit better, make it a little bit stronger. And do you need to go with a smaller bit?
No, I just think maybe on the edge.
Okay.
In the middle though, I'll be fine in the middle.
Okay, I got more bits, so whatever you need. So that's the plan, is we're going to reinforce the center, make that hinge a little bit stronger, tack it into place inside here, and we'll definitely make this repair outlast the life of this car, which hopefully is still a long time.
No, maybe I do need a smaller one. It keeps just.
Alright, so after a quick lunch break, the sun came out. It's now we've got our piece, everything's clamped into place. So we're going to tack this inner structure into place. So now you can kind of see what the inner structure looks like here. And we've drilled some holes so that we can put some spot welds through it, and then we'll grind these down, and then when we make our next piece, it'll flush over the top of that. So, and then can't really see them, but up in here I've got a couple more holes just to spot weld it to the inner flange here too. So, then I'll have to weld this up because we kind of messed it up a little bit when we were taking that door hinge off, but we kind of know about where the door hinge needs to be, so we'll hammer this out, get this all flat, get it ready for the next step, which will be making all of our pieces to cover this up. So that's what's next. So we came up with a little surprise in here. We saw these little cracks forming in here, and apparently someone tried to fix this with Bondo. Look at that. That is awesome. And me without my heat gun. So we'll chip this out and we'll hammer this back to straight, and then we'll keep going. Alright, so here we are at the back at the Rabbit again. We've got this structure tacked in, and I wanted to show you guys, I think, why these door hinges break and fail. You're probably not going to be able to see it, but I'm pointing at my screwdriver right back here in the very corner on the top and on the bottom. There's little tabs that slip in between what looks to be the fender and the inner body. And that is what keeps the front of the door on the lower hinge from wobbling back and forth. So my guess is oh, I think I got a little reflection on it there with the screwdriver, so you can kind of see the tab there, how it kind of works itself back into the corner and just slots in between those two things. And now we got a nice stiff lower door hinge. So our next step is we're going to weld the hinge onto the outside here, and then we're going to cut out our piece of sheet metal, which you guys totally missed me bending over this sweet piece of block metal there. So then we're going to weld this in, and this piece, it'll go underneath, but it's going to slip in here just like this. And then we need to make a piece to fill this gap and fix this, and then this repair is complete. We'll put the door back on, and I will go on my merry little way to feed my dog. So that's what we're gonna be doing for the rest of this episode. Alright everybody, I am a terrible YouTuber. I forgot to turn the camera on again. But I'll show you where we're at now. It's a few hours later. The sun has moved considerably across the sky. But now we have, this is all plated in. It's very, very stiff now. We still need to go along the bottom here and do the welding. But right now what we're going to do is we're going to make this piece right here. So I'm going to stick you guys ideally on this fender. Than it does to do the job, you know. Alright, so first part is back to the cardboard. If I find the scissors, which is right behind me. So this is just going to be make a little mark there to show that we got to cut that off, and then we're going to put a bend in it there, and that bend is going to come out to there, and it's going to work its way around there. Okay, so got our piece cut out of metal. Next thing we're going to do, I'm kneeling on my recently burned sweatshirt, so bear with me, my knees are getting sore. So we're just going to put the compound bends in here that we need to get to make this thing line up with the door jamb. And since we're using 20 gauge metal, it's really soft. So It's probably a little better angle for you guys to see. So this is what we're working on right here. And I just need to shave a little bit out of the center. Alright, so we had a little incident where we ran out of welding wire. So now that we're back refilled, I'm going to finish this up. Hopefully before the GoPro runs out of battery. Alright, so we are welded in. We got a little bit of cleanup to do here. We're going to throw a little quick coat of primer on here. I don't have the very good tool to get in and get all these welds cleaned down, so that's going to have to come at a later date. But for now we'll get some primer sealer on here, and I've still got to cut this line right here to make this flange nice and smooth, but that's just going to take a minute. So I'll check back in with you guys in a couple minutes after we get the door back up. Alright, so we got everything finished up and the door is back on. We had one little mishap with the lower hinge bolt stripped out. So Seth's going to fix that on his own, but like when it was tight, we had it tight for like a minute, and then we went to make an adjustment and it just kind of popped loose, and so it'll be an easy fix. We're just going to put a nut on the back side of it and it'll be good to go. But like with it in the right place, all the shut lines look good, everything's lined up the way it's supposed to be, the door opens and shuts, and even with the bad hinge bolt, which is kind of causing it to sag a little bit when we open it, it still opens and shuts way better than it did before. So easy fix, you know, maybe an hour at a time, and that'll be wrapped up. But a little bit, you know, it's kind of like that little bit bigger project than I had anticipated for the day, but not difficult. You just kind of got to work through it, and if we had a repair panel to use, it probably would have went a little quicker. But we made the panel out of some flat stock to kind of expedite the process. You know, we kind of both blocked out today to get this done, so definitely wanted to make sure we got it done, and that was the way to ensure that we had the materials on hand. So you know, it didn't take very much metal at all. I bought a 2x2 square of metal and used maybe maybe a tenth of it. So got plenty of metal left over for another project. So it's done until Seth gets to finish up the rest of this on his own. We've kind of got a game plan for him to finish this up. So the hard part's done. Now it's just a little finish work. So that is all for this episode of Throttle Grotto. And until next time, get out there and work on something. You too, Seth.
Woo!